Hello, my fellow Americans. Happy New Year. Welcome. This is A Quiet Rage. I took an extra week off because, holidays are holidays. But we're back now, and where do I start? I mean, there's a lot I could talk about. Just the press conference that the president-elect gave right in the middle of former President Jimmy Carter's body being transported. It just seemed like maybe that was on purpose. I don't know. Anyway, I can't help but notice that we're talking about annexing Greenland for reasons. We're not talking about how we're going to bring down the price of groceries. Weird. The thing he talked about, don't get me wrong, politicians do all this all the time. Talk about stuff on the campaign trail, and then once they get in office or once they're inaugurated or once they're elected, they start talking about other things. But wasn't that like the big thing that you were all worried about, Mr. and Mrs. MAGA? Wasn't it? I just can't help but think maybe you got bamboozled there, just a little bit. Also, as I mentioned in a previous episode, you owe me a research paper, and nobody has turned in their papers, so you're all overdue. You're not going to get full credit for knowing why the Clean Air Act, the Clean Water Act were important. What else was it? Anyway, the lack of a moral imperative in a major corporation. That was the point of the research paper you owed me. But moving on, since you're clearly not going to turn that in. I mentioned also in a previous episode that shortly after the first of the year, I was going to be going to my first local Democrats meeting. And I did. I did that last week. And it was fantastic. Unfortunately, the meeting, we were not able to have an actual meeting. My membership was not voted on because we couldn't make quorum. The members, I should say, couldn't make quorum, which means you have to have a certain percentage per the bylaws of your organization. You have to have a certain percentage or certain number of members. And we weren't able to make quorum. But that actually made me happy. It made me feel good because whatever percentage there are 443 members of this particular chapter of Democrats. And it was really crappy weather. The storm that came through the center of the U.S. and wreaked havoc all over the place, snow in places that hadn't had snow in quite a long while. That was just finishing up. We didn't get a whole lot of snow here, but it was colder than we're used to. It was very windy. It was just, it was not a nice day. But we still had probably, at least 60, 70 people. There was a lot of people there. So, as I mentioned previously, that's one thing that I encourage you to do. Just do a Google search of, the area that you're in, the city you're in, the county that you're in, and then Democrats, and see if there's maybe a meeting you can go to. Maybe something you can join. I'm very much looking forward to the February meeting. Hopefully we'll have a quorum and I can get voted on. There was a lot of energy in the room. There was certainly some negative energy. I live in Virginia, despite the shirt that I'm wearing. I live in Virginia, and the governor currently is a Republican who is skilled at saying things that you know mean he's a Trump supporter, but in a way that he can say, no, I'm not. You know, he had the trap door if Trump actually like went to jail or was truly disgraced, although I don't know what you people are waiting for to think he's disgraced, because I'm there. Anyway, there was no love for Governor Glenn Youngkin in that room. But there was a lot of positive energy too. There was, hey, we lost the presidency and we're going to have to fight fascism for another 4 years, and that's going to be rough. But there was a quiet rage in the room, if I may. People were definitely angry but ambitious, ready to roll up their sleeves and get some things done. And that really, I left that meeting feeling very good. So I would, again, recommend that you maybe look into that. One thing, so there was a short presentation by a local, I think it's local to the state of Virginia, and I guess they're a lobbyist group. I didn't get all their information, but what they talked about was ranked choice voting, which is perhaps more useful or more informative in something like a primary or a race, an open race, like if there's, say, student council, Board of Education, something like that. There's 4 seats and there's 7 people running, whatever it may be. And the example that they gave was, say you have 4 candidates for 1 seat. And everybody votes ranked choice voting, and one candidate gets 40% of the vote. The next candidate gets 30% of the vote. And there's an additional 30% that is split between 2 other candidates that, just kind of 20 to one and 10 to another. Well, at first glance, much like that aircraft returning from battle with all the bullet holes, you think, well, let's patch these bullet holes, make these areas more hardy. No, you're getting the wrong information from your data. Sure, 40% of the people that voted want this guy, but 60% of the people might absolutely hate that guy. He or she might have been their 4th choice on this ballot. We don't know. So what you do, at least in this example, is you take that 4th candidate that scored only 10%, and you throw out all of their first place votes, and everybody that voted for them in first place, you take their 2nd choice. Now, maybe all of them go to the 40% candidate, and that puts them at 50. You have a majority. Okay. But maybe they split between candidates 1, 2, and 3. But 3 still doesn't have enough. So then you knock off all of their first place votes, go with their second place votes. Maybe that makes candidate 2 rocket way past candidate number 1. Maybe not. Maybe, whatever it may be, you get a better actual understanding of what the people that voted in that election want. Anyway, I didn't really understand what it was. I thought it doesn't matter. I have a better understanding of it now. So, and that was something that I would not have had I not gone to this meeting. So it was beneficial to me in 2 ways. So go to a meeting, find a meeting, find a place where you can gather, because as I've said before, when we gather in groups of like-minded people, Democrats, liberals, sane people, will often leave feeling better because you've been amongst people, like-minded people. It's easy to see all the Trump bumper stickers and flags on people's houses and on their trucks going by and feel like you're in a minority, but I really don't think that's the case. And that's a good way to remind yourself, hey, there are other people here like me, and you might learn something like I did. So that's my message for you. Again, Happy New Year, everybody. Rest in peace to Jimmy Carter, a fellow submarine sailor. Whether you liked him or not, he served his country, and he did so with honor many times. Next week is, well, we're coming up on inauguration here real quick. Next week is the sentencing for Trump, right? On the 10th. That'll be interesting. So we'll have some things to talk about, I'm sure, next week. In the meantime, if you feel the same way I do, keep that quiet rage and look for like-minded people. Good night, America.